Michael Morales is a very young Ecuadorian prospect coming up in the welterweight division at 14-0 and 24 years of age, and will likely be a part of this new wave of new contenders coming up in the welterweight division. A lot of these guys at welterweight are getting old, and you'll start to see some of these guys coming up replacing them a little bit more. We have guys like, I guess Leon Edwards is, I think, like 30 years old, 31 maybe, but you have guys like Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, who are definitely getting older, and you might see them start to leave the sport or at least lose their rankings a little bit more in the next year or two. Then you have Hamzat Chimaev maybe moving out of that division. We don't know yet for sure, but you even have guys like Wonderboy, like guys like Neil Magny, even though I think Neil Magny probably fights a little bit longer, I guess. He is getting older in general, but in a year or two, we don't know exactly where Neil Magny will definitely be at, but you'll definitely see this division start to move quite a bit. You've already seen young contenders like Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Gary, Jack Della Maddalena move up in the welterweight division. I think Michael Morales will be a part of that move up in the welterweight division. I think he ends up being top 15. I don't know quite yet where he will necessarily be at. He's only 24 years of age, definitely has a little bit more to develop in general, but I think he is a very promising prospect. He made his debut on the Dana White Contender Series, and now I'm going to try and say this name without butchering it, but we'll see what happens here. He made his debut against Nikolai Valentinnikov on the Dana White Contender Series, looked pretty balanced on the feet and on the ground in that matchup, and then made his UFC debut against Trevin Giles and actually looked pretty good in that fight. At the beginning of it, he got hurt, got tagged, kind of went down, but kind of got bounced off the fence, went in a clinch position, ended up on the ground. Trevin Giles tried to get in a arm triangle, I guess. He didn't necessarily have it fully in, but Michael Morales was able to get up and move him, get top position, end up standing up, and then catching Trevin Giles like off his back foot against the cage and hurting Trevin Giles very badly and finishing him off there. I'll kind of get into the downsides of Michael Morales a little bit later after looking at these past three matchups that he has had within like the UFC combines. His most recent fight against Adam Fugit was a little bit tougher for him. I don't think Adam Fugit's the best unranked guy in the world. He just lost to Mike Malott. He did have, I guess, a couple moments in that fight, but I don't think he's going to be higher skilled in that unranked area in general for a guy like Adam Fugit. But for Michael Morales, he was getting hit quite a bit in that fight, but he did end up getting the finish in the third round, did land some good shots. I believe he did look pretty decent on the ground as well. So Michael Morales taking 9 months off between his last fight and this fight. He is fighting a good fighter in Max Griffin, who is a very good veteran and honestly has had some very good wins recently in general, or at least close fights in general. Against Tim Means, won a split decision there. Arguably could have won against Neil Magny. He lost to that one by a split decision. Beat Carlos Condit less than 2 years ago. Beat Kenan Song 2 years ago. So he's still a decent veteran fighter in the UFC welterweight division. So we'll see how Michael Morales does here. But I think at 24 years of age, taking 9 months off, or at least 23 to 24, you're going to develop quite a bit, especially at a young age. This is not bad time to be taking off. If you're like in your 30s, 31, 32, and you're taking this much time off, you do kind of worry a little bit more with that kind of time off. But at this age, you'll see him definitely start to develop a little bit more in a skill set. And a guy that's already pretty raw, has a little bit of the skill set on the feet and on the ground. Just kind of has to put it together a little bit more, not get hit as much on the feet. He is at times very, I don't want to say open, but he's hittable. He's definitely hittable on the feet. He does kind of just tank it and just uses his striking. He's very dynamic in general. He doesn't use too many kicks. I would like to see him use a little bit more kicks. He's a very long dude in general. You can tell he's a pretty good athlete, so maybe he'll start to develop some more of these body kicks and some of these leg kicks and start to develop that game a little bit more. But again, he's a very athletic dude. His striking in general is pretty accurate. He does land some good shots. He doesn't have crazy power in his hands, but he does land some pretty accurate shots that do get the attentions of guys like Trevin Giles and Adam Fugit. So, and even in that Dana White Contender Series fight, he did hurt. What was his name again? I'm gonna try and say it. Nikolai Valentinnikov. So he's good. He has that base. Like you can tell at 22, 23, 24, he can definitely be something in his career. He just has to develop, and I think those 9 months definitely helped him here. And I think he does win against Max Griffin. Max Griffin, very good veteran. Guess we'll kind of see how Michael Morales looks. 9 months off, see how he returns. I think he ends up winning this fight. We'll see how it goes, though. Good veteran in Max Griffin. Big test for Michael Morales. We'll see what he does here. But I think Michael Morales, if he does beat Max Griffin, Maybe you looked at ranked guys, or maybe just higher unranked guys for a guy like Michael Morales. Maybe he takes a little bit more time off again to develop his skill set, or I think he fights again and then just starts developing as he fights a little bit more. But he's still 24. He just turned 24. On Tapology says 24 in 1 week, so extremely young still. I think he will be a part of this new wave of welterweight contenders, and I think he will start to, at least when he hits his prime, 27, 28, I don't think that's a prime year or anything, but at 27, 28, I think you'll see him start to put it together quite a bit. Maybe even a little bit younger as well, maybe 26. You'll start to see him put a little bit more together, and I don't think by like 26, maybe he is fighting the middle top 15 ranked guys. So we'll see what happens here. I have a lot of high hopes for Michael Morales. He just has to put it together. I think he is developing skill set pretty well. We'll see how he goes. Very good submissions, skills on the ground. You can see it as he's on the ground in his guard. You can see he starts to throw out quite a bit of submissions in general. Strong dude on the ground, knows what he's doing on the ground, has decent takedowns as well. Can't get taken down though. Good on the feet. He just is hittable. So you'll start to see that kind of develop a little bit more. But let me know what you guys think about the prospect of Michael Morales in the UFC, and I'll see you guys next time.